Good day, Rancho Verde Pre-Calculus. This is Mr. Langston coming at you. We got section 2-3, Polynomial and Synthetic Division. Part 1, we're going to do long division just for today. So our focus standard, of course, is long division of polynomials. Our content standard, we're still doing chapter 2, which is polynomial and rational functions. And we are going to understand and persevere because, yeah, it's long division. The students will be able to verbalize how to divide polynomials using long division and document their understanding in haiku learning as a formative assessment. So without much further ado, we're going to skip the warm-up and boom, long division. So first thing we're going to do is set this up as you would a normal division problem. So we have x minus 2 on the outside. And on the inside, we're going to have 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4. Now, with long division, we look at the first terms. So what I'm talking about is the first term here and the first term here. And what I do is I ask myself, x times what is going to give me 6x cubed? So x times, in this case, 6x squared gives me 6x cubed. Now, I'm going to take this 6x squared and I'm going to multiply it into x minus 2. So 6x squared times x is going to give me 6x cubed. 6x squared times negative 2 gives me negative 12x squared. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the signs of everything that I have in the bottom. So it's a positive, it becomes a negative, and if it's a negative, it becomes a positive. And now I add them together. So add vertically, this should cancel out and give me a 0. 6x cubed minus 6x cubed gives me 0. And now I have 19x squared plus 12x squared. Well, that's going to be minus 7x squared. And now I bring down my 16x. And I ask myself the same question. So I have x times what gives me negative 7x squared? Well, for this one, it's minus 7x. So I take this minus 7x or negative 7x and multiply it with x minus 2. So I'll get negative 7x squared plus, in this case, 7 times 2, 14x. And when I do that, I now, don't forget, change the sign. So it's negative, it becomes a positive. It's positive, it becomes a negative. And combine vertically. The first term should end up being a 0. Negative 7x squared plus 7x squared is 0. And now I have 16x minus 14x, which is 2x. Bring down this minus 4. So x times what gives me 2x times 2. Multiply the 2 by x minus 2. 2x minus 4. Add it together, but change the signs first. 0, 0. I have a remainder of 0. Go back up at the top. If you don't see a sign between, put a plus. And we're done. So our answer is 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. Yay! I've cleansed the diamond. So I have this example. Now I have x cubed minus 1 divided by x minus 1. Now, for these all long division, you need to you need to, and you need to put everything in descending order and not skip a place. And if you skip a term, you have to add a placeholder. So for instance, look right here. I go from x cubes minus 1. Well, what happened to x squareds? What happened to the x's? They're all zeros. So I'm going to put them in a placeholder. So I'll write this as x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 1. And I'm dividing it by x minus 1. Remember what I told you. We're paying attention to the first terms only. So x times what gives me x cubed? X times x squared gives me x cubed. Now I take this x squared, multiply it into x minus 1. So x squared times x, x cubed. X squared times negative 1, negative x squared. I'm going to add them together. But before I do, change my signs. So it becomes a minus and a plus. Cancels out, becomes a 0. And now plus x squared, just x squared. And now bring down 0x. So I have x times what gives me x squared? Well, this should be easy. X times x gives me x squared. So I distribute this x into x minus 1. So I get x squared minus 1x. I am going to add it together, but don't forget, before I do that, switch my signs. So x squared minus x squared is 0. And 0x plus 1x, well, that's just x. Bring down your minus 1. X times what gives me x? Well, in this case, 1. X times 1 gives me x. Distribute that 1. So I get x minus 1. Add it together. But before I do, change my signs. I get 0, and I get 0. Go back up at the top and put plus signs if you have to. So it's x squared plus x plus 1. And there you have it. So we got this one. Remember what I said? You have to put everything in descending order and you can't skip a term. So I'm going to, on the outside, write x squared plus 2x minus 3. Descending order, don't skip a term. X squared plus 2x minus 3. And that goes into, I have 2x to the 4th. And I'm just going to cross it out so I can keep track. Plus 4x cubed minus 5x squared plus 3x minus 2. So, same concept. First term, first term. So I have x squared times 2x to the, or x squared times what gives me 2x to the 4th? Well, that should be 2x squared. X squared times 2x squared gives me 2x to the 4th. Now when I multiply it out, 2x squared times x squared, 2x to the 4th, 2x squared times 2x, 4x cubed, and 2x squared times negative 3, negative 6, x squared. I am going to add them together, but I changed my signs. Negative negative, positive. Cancels out, gives me a 0 for the leading term. Yay, I know I'm doing it right. Gives me a 0 for this one, not a problem. And now I have negative 5x squared plus 6x squared. That's going to be x squared. No, the lousy 2, so let me try it again. X squared. And now, let's bring down some terms so I can divide into it. I'm going to bring down 2. I have plus 3x, and I have minus 2. Pay attention to your first terms. X squared times what gives me x squared? In this case, it's 1. So I have x squared plus 2x minus 3. I'm going to add them together, but before, change my signs. So x squared minus x squared gives me a 0. 3x minus 2x just gives me x. Negative 2 plus 3 plus 1. This is my remainder because x, now the leading term, is smaller than the leading term here. And when I say smaller, I mean the degree. So it's power. So I can't divide an x squared into an x. So in this case, I have an answer, and I'm going to run out of room, so I need to put it here. My answer that I have is, at the top, I have 2x squared plus 1 plus, now my remainder, and that's x plus 1 all over x squared plus 2x minus 3. Now, what I have to make sure, though, is that I can't simplify this. So what I'm going to do is factor the bottom. The bottom is x minus 3, or sorry, x plus 3, x minus 1. Now, if I had an x plus 1 at the bottom, I'd be able to cancel out the top and the bottom, and it would become 1 over x plus 3. But in this case, I don't have a common factor top and bottom, so I'm not going to cancel anything out. But I still need to check. I always need to check to see if I can simplify my fraction. In this case, I cannot simplify my fraction, so it is just right here. And by the way, that's a plus. It's a lousy plus. So let's try it again. Plus. All right. So we have a ticket out the door. With your elbow partner, you're going to communicate how you divide polynomials using long division. What would you first have to do before you even start the process of dividing? I want you to document. You can use generalities, but you can tell me what the steps are. So I want you to document this in your Haiku Learning account. You're going to make a new discussion. If you need a sentence frame to start you off, you can start off with the process of long division involving polynomials is done by first ... You fill in the rest with your words. So that concludes today's lesson. I hope I explained it well enough. If I didn't, let me know, please. And that's about it, you guys. So I'll see you in class tomorrow. You take care. Peace.